Different types of succulent. Echeveria is very common and popular succulents, and for good reason. You can easily find these succulents in a number of different colors and sizes, but they will all have the gorgeous spiral of rosettes that are so characteristic. Some Echeveria has soft and hairy leaves, while others are perfectly smooth. While some of these succulents will not bloom, others may have orange, yellow, or pink flowers. People tend to love Echeveria because they are so easy to reproduce from leaf cuttings. They are native to South and Central America, and one of the reasons why they are so popular with homeowners is because they do not die after they flower. If you do have Echeveria in your home, you will want to make sure that you provide them with the best living and growing conditions. These plants need a lot of light and soil that has great drainage, or they will not do well. Make sure that they have plenty of air circulation as well. While many people get Aeonium and Echeveria succulents confused, there are a few differences. While they look very similar in that they both produce their leaves in concentric circles around the center, which makes them look a little like a rose, Aeonium has rosettes that are formed on long woody stems. This means that instead of growing closer to the ground, the way that Echeveria and other succulents do, Aeonium can grow much taller, with some varieties reaching up to 4 feet tall and having rosettes that are the size of a dinner plate. If you want to keep your Aeonium inside all the time, make sure that you choose a smaller option, which is still just as beautiful. These hardy plants can generally live through a light frost and will go semi-dormant during very hot summers. So you need to make sure that you keep an eye on your plant during these times. Regular watering during dormant periods isn't advised. This small succulent has a few rosettes that are formed by triangular leaves that are quite fat. They feel a little bit like felt and are very wavy or crested on the tips of the leaves, which makes them fairly easy for most people to identify. Another way to tell apart this type of succulent is the short stem, which is wrapped in thick aerial roots that are reddish and appear to be wiry and hair-like. This is a very easy succulent to grow, which makes it a great choice for anyone who is just learning how to grow these plants. Since they prefer well-drained soil, you will want to repot your Adromischus cristatus every other year to ensure not only that the soil isn't too compact, but also that they have space for their roots to spread out in the pot. They tend to sunburn easily when exposed to midday sun, so try to keep them in a shaded area outside. Aloe vera. This is an evergreen perennial that not only grows wild around the world but has also been cultivated for medicinal and agricultural uses. This attractive plant grows very well inside your home and has uses for homeowners. The thick, fat leaves contain a juice that has long been used to relieve the pain that you feel from a burn in the kitchen or a sunburn and is safe for topical use. You will want to make sure that your aloe vera is able to dry out completely in between waterings so that its roots do not rot. It's a good idea to use a porous pot so that the water will be able to leave the soil and it will dry out completely. Make sure that your aloe vera has proper drainage, as this plant will start to wilt and rot very quickly if left in too much water. It can be difficult to save your plant when this begins to occur. Bromeliads are larger succulents that stand out from others due to their size as well as their appearance. While they may look incredibly high maintenance, they are rather easy to take care of at home. And homeowners love the bright colors of the flower as well as the size and shape of the wide leaves. While they originally grow to cling to surfaces such as trees, these epiphytic plants can live in your home as long as you provide them with the proper care. They do best in shallow pots and low soil mixtures that allow the soil to drain quickly without leaving standing water that will rot the roots. During the growing season, you will need to feed the plant with a half-strength fertilizer to promote healthy growth, and it's important to make sure that you keep the plant in a humid area. If the plant flowers, it will die shortly afterward, but you can cut an offset, or pup, from the base of the plant to continue growing a bromeliad. Jade. This is a very popular type of succulent and is often found both in homes and on porches due to the ease with which it is grown, how quickly you can propagate it, and how easily you can trim it to make sure that it doesn't get too large for your home or space. What makes these plants different from other types of succulents is that they have very thick stems and fat leaves that will easily root when placed in water. To ensure that your jade plant is as healthy as possible, you need to make sure that you only water it when the soil is dry to the touch and that it has full sun. Like most kinds of succulents, jade plants will not thrive when they do not have enough sun. You will be able to tell that your jade plant isn't getting the light that it needs to be as healthy as possible when it stretches out and there are large spaces between the leaves. This is known as etiolation and will make your plant look gangly and unsupported. Graptopetalum may look very similar to Echeveria. This succulent is different because the rosette shapes are formed on stems. The thick leaves do a great job of holding moisture so that the plant can survive periods of drought, and the leaves are fleshy and attractive. Look for a Graptopetalum, or ghost plant, that has foliage that is silvery gray or bluish green. It's normal for the leaves to have a little bit of pink along the edges when the plant is younger. Graptopetalum that are grown in full sun is generally yellowish pink in color, while ones that are grown in partial shade are more bluish gray. If your Graptopetalum lives in full, hot sun all the time, you can expect it to be gray with pink. The plant will sometimes bloom in the spring or summer months and will produce small yellow blooms. The mounding growth of this plant makes it an excellent ground cover. Like other succulents, Euphorbia is a great option if you want a plant in your home but aren't prepared to spend a lot of time worrying about when to water it and what type of care it will need. There are many varieties of these succulents to choose from, which makes it easy to find one that will look great in your space. But you do need to be careful when handling your new succulent, as they all have a latex sap that is milky in appearance and can be mildly irritating or poisonous. Euphorbia generally do very well when allowed to grow in full sun and when provided with well-drained soil, as this will ensure that the roots do not rot. Many of these plants will do just fine when faced with drought conditions and will continue to look amazing. Taking care of your Euphorbia is relatively easy, as you only need to make sure that there aren't any pests present and that you water them underneath their leaves to prevent mildew. Haworthia. If you want a particularly outstanding looking succulent, then you need to consider adding a Haworthia to the mix, as they are characterized by unique growth, bold colors and markings, and a wild form that sets them apart from other succulents. Most Haworthia grows in the form of a rosette and has chubby foliage that may look, at first glances, like an aloe vera. Because Haworthia produces multiple pups as it grows, it is fairly easy to separate these from the main plant and produce new plants with ease. If there is a problem with your Haworthia, you will want to check the roots, as they will give you a clue as to the overall health of your plant. If the roots are not a pale yellow and look like they have been rotting, you may need to trim them back to improve the health of your plant. Haworthia are some of the most tolerant succulents, making them ideal for people who tend to overwater their plants or forget to water them at all. Kalanchoe. One of the reasons why these succulents are so popular is because they have such gorgeous blooms that are available in a wide variety of colors, making them incredibly popular with florists. It's easy to encourage your Kalanchoe to bloom even in the middle of the winter by providing them with ample light, but you do need to be careful that you don't overwater them during this time, as you can easily damage them and cause them to rot, just like with any other type of succulent. The leaves of the Kalanchoe vary widely in shape, from ones that are paddle-shaped to others that look more like the ears of an elephant. While most Kalanchoe is upright plants that mimic the appearance of other houseplants, others are hanging varieties and can be used in hanging baskets around the home. Make sure to keep an eye out for common household pests and to cut off the flowering head when it is bloomed out so that the plant can focus its energy on being as healthy as possible.